There is no heaven. There is no hell. There is only this world and its dark reflection. And we do not know in which of the two worlds we are.
Live from New York, it is the Coffee Club with your host, Felix.
And Dr. Mark.
And we are here tonight to discuss the end of the Olympics. We're also here tonight to discuss afterlife.
Heaven and hell.
Love and hate.
Well, love and hate.
I don't know. We're here, though. We're here and we're live. And first thing we want to tell you is we do take calls, ladies and gentlemen, and we can take multiple calls at the same time. So please give us a call at 646-592-3275.
No, not exactly. 595-3275.
And what did I say?
592.
I guess I should put on some glasses.
And I don't have my reading glasses with me today. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, 646-595-3275.
And you can call us now through the next hour and a half. As long as you call, we'll answer.
And remember, the show is nothing if you don't call.
Some people say it's nothing when people do call.
No. It's nothing when you and I just hash it out. We need people to call in.
Otherwise, it's a show about nothing.
Where have I heard that before?
I don't know. That used to be.
I think somebody very famous said that, didn't they?
Yes. Thanks. I didn't realize I was that famous.
Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, Sochi Olympics are over. Russia, as the host country, wound up with the most medals. However, ask yourself this question. Do you think the Russian people are happy with that total, even though Russia failed to medal in hockey?
Yes. I think the country as a whole is ecstatic. They were actually able to get the Olympics into Russia. Everybody showed up.
It was safe.
It was safe. No countries boycotted them. It was a complete success for them internally.
It almost sounds like something that Donald Trump would do, spending all that money on the Olympics. But I guess in this case, for Putin, it paid off.
Well, Putin is not here to impress anybody but the people within his country. And he did a great job. If he made a few enemies outside, he doesn't really care.
Well, certainly the opening ceremonies and the closing ceremonies dealing with the history of Russia and the literature and music was something to see.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable. It was, I don't know if you call it educational, but it was definitely enjoyable.
Well, for somebody who doesn't know much about Russian, Eastern European and Russian history. Mm-hmm. And, of course, they're going to glorify the revolution, the rise of communism, up to a certain point, I guess. Because supposedly Russia is a democratic, in quotes, country.
Well, they did vote Putin in. And the people in Russia like him a lot. They love him,
Oh, I don't know. If you heard some of the people they have their issues. But the thing is, even in this country, people have their issues with Obama.
Yes, but
Only here, they're not afraid to voice their opinion.
well, they do have elections, and I guess that's when they can sort of voice their opinion.
Yes, but are the elections in Russia like the elections in Iraq? Forget about the purple finger, when they tell you that the government was elected by a landslide, or in Pakistan where they tell you that Hamid Karzai got 98% of the votes.
Is that in Pakistan or Afghanistan?
Karzai? Afghanistan. My bad. That's right.
Okay. Just want to make sure I'm keeping you honest, Mark.
Hey, look, I make mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes.
Listen, we are here to make the mistakes and for our audience to correct us.
The good thing is we can't see their faces as they turn off the broadcast.
And they start laughing at us. Look at these idiots. Karzai in Pakistan. What are they talking about?
Hey, listen, folks. It's all right. That's hardly the worst mistake I've ever made.
No, and it's not the... What's those noises, Mark?
It's part of our sound effects.
Let's go with...
You like that one, don't you?
Well,
Between that one and... you know which one I'm talking about.
Well, the other one was saving for a little while. I hear it's Dr. Don's wife's birthday this week, so I want to wish her a happy birthday.
Happy and healthy, yes.
We won't ask her how old she is, but
You
happy
never ask a
birthday.
woman her age or how much she weighs.
Unless she's 21 and weighs 105 pounds.
No, even then, I don't think they want to tell you.
I don't think they'd mind as much.
I don't know. My favorite thing is if I see a good-looking 21-year-old, I want to know what her mother looks like.
Try her grandmother.
Well, her mother is probably 45, so that's way too young for me.
But her grandmother might be a young 65.
Depending upon when she started her family, very possibly, or even if she's 68 or 69. Some good-looking 69-year-olds out there,
I never thought of it that way, but I guess it's true. I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that when we start getting our calls, the show gets much more serious. But as we're waiting for the calls, we really don't have too much to say, so we get around and we wait. So don't take this as the way our show is, unless you enjoy the kidding around. And
Unless you've listened to our show before,
yeah,
so you know.
exactly. But as far as the Olympics, I do really think that for Russia it was a great success. It would have been nicer if they won in hockey, but still it was a great success.
No, it would have been nicer if the United States had at least medaled in bronze.
No, I'm just talking from a Russia point of view.
Well,
That's all. I'm just saying.
hockey is their sport, and also the fact that the Russian athletes practiced on the facility, so they were very familiar with the bobsled and the ice in the arena as far as speed skating. So,
Look, it was a great Olympics. United States held its own. Would have been nice if we won a couple of more medals.
yeah, I think
but
we won more medals than we did in Vancouver. I think that's what they said.
I don't know. But
And one thing they'll be talking about with this Olympics, the weather. They had warmer weather in Sochi than we had here for those 2 weeks. Don't forget, that was the 2 weeks when we got snow, 15-degree temperatures, windy, wind chills, black ice, I mean, and if you see the pictures in Sochi, not only the athletes, but the tourists are walking around in thin sweaters, Well, as the description says, we are going to be discussing, I would say, wrapping up a discussion of an afterlife. One or two of our listeners said that, they would like to carry it over a little bit for Friday because they may not be able to call up today. So, as you know, we here at the Coffee Club, we don't mind at all if, whatever you want to talk about. As I said, we post a topic. Felix and I will start with that topic. But if you're calling up and there's something that you want to talk about, it's your show, so you go and run with it. Now, we had a question on Friday about whether Jewish people believed in an afterlife, a heaven and hell. And Felix sent me something from Google just to paraphrase some of this stuff. Yes, Jewish people, whether they're Orthodox, conservative, or Reformed, do believe in some sort of an afterlife, okay? It says that while the Pharisees don't necessarily, it's a belief in the eventual resurrection of the dead is a fundamental belief of traditional Judaism. It was a belief that distinguished the Pharisees, who are the intellectual ancestors of rabbinical Judaism, from the Sadducees. The Sadducees rejected this concept because it not explicitly mentioned in the Torah. The Pharisees found the concept implied certain verses. Belief in resurrection of the dead is one of Rambam's 13 principles of faith. A second blessing of the Shemona Esrei prayer, which is recited 3 times a day in the synagogue, has several references to resurrection. The resurrection of the dead will occur, and even I know this, as of the Messianic age, time referred to in the Hebrew as Olam Haba, or the world to come. But that term is also used to refer to the spiritual afterlife. When the Messiah comes to initiate the perfect world of peace and prosperity, the righteous dead will be brought back to life and given the opportunity to experience the perfected world that their righteousness helped to create. The wicked dead will not be resurrected. Now, basically, this sounds very much like Revelation. The Revelation talks about the second coming of Christ, at which point Christ will defeat the Antichrist, and all those dead who are believers, and now we're talking about reborn Christians who have passed away, will be risen from the dead, and everybody else will fall into, I guess, hell. Okay, and this prosperous life will go on for a millennium. The discussion here goes on to say that there are some mystical schools of thought that believe resurrection is not a one-time event, but it's an ongoing process. The souls of the righteous are reborn to continue the ongoing process of the tiktum olam, mending of the world. Some sources indicate that reincarnation is a routine process, while others indicate that it only occurs in unusual circumstances, where the soul left unfinished business behind. Well, and again, that's to say that you would be reincarnated into a situation where you can complete whatever it is you started, I guess. Belief in reincarnation is also one way to explain the traditional Jewish belief that every Jewish soul in history was present at Sinai and agreed to the covenant with God. Now, that covenant that we're talking about is the Ten Commandments, when Moses brought the Ten Commandments written by the hand of God and the 413 additional laws. Well, we're way past that. Don't worry. Belief in reincarnation is commonly held by many Hasidic sects, that's the ultra-Orthodox, as well as some of the mystically inclined Jews. When we talk of mystically inclined Jews, we're talking about the Kabbalah. And we're all familiar with that because many Hollywood actors and actresses have laid claim to beliefs in the Kabbalah, one being Madonna, and there are some others as well. The spiritual afterlife is referred to in Hebrew as the Olam Haba. That is, as I said, the world to come. Although this term is used to welcome the Messianic era. Looks like I'm getting a double here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. The Talmud states that all Israel has a share in the Olam Haba. However, not all shares are equal. Well, I guess that would make sense. A particularly righteous person will have a greater share in the Olam Haba than an average person. In addition, a person can lose his share through wicked deeds and actions. There are many statements in the Talmud that a particular mitzvah or good deed will guarantee a person a place in the Olam Haba, and that a particular sin will lose the person's share in the Olam Haba. But these are generally regarded as hyperbole, excessive expressions of approval or disapproval. Some people look at these teachings that deduce that Jews try to earn their way into heaven by performing mitzvot. Well, when you think about it, that would be similar, I believe, to some of the Christian beliefs that a good person does good things and thus assuring his or her entrance into heaven.
All right.
Calvinists, on the other hand, believe that if you do good, okay, it's because you're predestined. Calvinists believe in predestination, that from the time you are conceived and born, it's already been decided where you're going.
Okay, Mark, we have a caller.
Do we?
We've got a caller, and
Anything
who's calling?
Anything to shut me up.
Hello. Can you hear me?
You guys there?
Excuse me?
You guys there?
We're here.
Hi guys, Dr. Mark and Felix. What do you feel? I like what you're talking about. Listen for a little bit. How do you feel about Scientology with Tom Cruise and everything?
I don't know. Everything seems to point that it's a cult.
The cult, right? It's a cult.
But, you know, the Scientologists don't believe it's a cult.
Now, wait. Let's distinguish. Is it a cult or is it a cult? OCCULT.
You're right. It's interesting, but interesting and at the same time disturbing. So, I just wonder how you guys felt about Scientology, and we're talking about religion here.
Well, I mean, I'm not familiar with Scientology, but...
Neither am I.
But I believe they believe...
Well, no, they believe we're from aliens.
Yeah,
That's how I take it. They think we're from aliens.
Yep. That's,
You know,
that's the way I look at
that's
it.
how they. I
Well-
believe that's what they're.
See, I think they take it one step further. Many people believe that, especially when you look at the sculptures in the farmlands and everything, that the Earth at one time was visited by aliens, but they believe that the aliens mated with Earth people, and that's why we are descendants of aliens and humans.
Yeah, no, I hear you, Mark, Dr. Mark. I hear you. It's look. I can't even give you a definite or definitive. It's just weird between.
Well, by nature, people are skeptical, especially about something that
Right.
they really don't know. The Hinduism, Shintoism, Judaism, Catholicism, Protestant, Unitarian, these are beliefs that we're all basically a little familiar with. Scientology is it's never got a positive workup really in the press.
No, it has it because people just can't accept it.
I also believe they've all
um,
been a little secretive in their own ways, so we don't know exactly what they are. What did that Reverend Moon Young, what did he do?
Some Young Moon.
Some Young Moon, what did he do?
I have no idea. Not at all. I just remember them selling flowers at the airport, or on the highways when you stop. They approach the car and they want to sell you a rose for $2 or something.
What happened to that group?
I don't know.
It sort of quieted down, huh?
Maybe they got in a rocket ship and I have no idea.
And then what was that guy that...
Oh,
Guyana?
Jim, the Jonestown.
Yeah,
He had them all drinking Kool-Aid and a mass suicide.
yeah. And most of them knew what they were doing.
right.
A few didn't like it and ran, but most of them...
What I'm sorry to change topics. It's so funny with our your new. I don't know if you guys, but our new mayor, de Blasio, with what happened with going through his entourage was flying through the streets there. Meanwhile, he's saying, "Hey, we got to now do zero tolerance. We can't do that stuff."
We're going to go down to...
But meanwhile, his
20 miles an hour
entourage.
in the whole of the city. Does that mean the 5 boroughs too, or just Manhattan? Anybody pay attention to that?
No, I think it would be the 5 boroughs.
5 boroughs, right? He went. His entourage went flying through. The
But I have
streets
news
and-
for you. If you're going 20 miles an hour in Manhattan, that's practically speeding.
That's speeding. Yeah, exactly.
But the rest of the Brooklyn, Queens, and Bronx, there are a lot of wide streets that they should. Maybe they'll start posting where you can go faster.
I don't know. I could just see his son, who is a student in my alma mater, Brooklyn Tech. He stays out on a snow day, and he comes in the next day, and he gives his prefect teacher, who is the homeroom teacher, a note that says, "Please excuse," and I forgot his name, "for being absent.
Okay.
I didn't want him to walk on the ice. Signed, the mayor." On City Hall stationery.
I hope you didn't do that.
Dr. Mark, tell Felix just technically, I can't hear him.
You cannot hear me?
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There you are.
Oh, thank you. See, now what I did is I shut off my microphone.
Sounds familiar. I wonder who did that before.
I have no clue.
Sounds like something an intern would do.
Yeah. Well, I'm an intern too now.
So, look, guys, how do we do in Russia? How do the United States do? That's your topic.
Actually, I
do?
think we fell into sixth place as far as medals are concerned.
Was it 6?
I think that's what they said before I came over. I don't know what the exact total was, but they did say that we won more medals in Russia than we did in Vancouver. So maybe that's a good thing.
I think Russia became more of a topic of, besides the medals that the United States or whatever country got. It was more a matter of security. I mean, beefing up and how they did a great job of handling security.
Well, I really have to say that you're right. Remember the show that we had discussing the safety of Sochi? I remember Dr. Don saying that, maybe it wouldn't hit the Olympics, but it might hit one of the surrounding cities. And the only thing untoward that occurred was this little uprising in Kiev, in the Ukraine.
Right.
But again, that is a separate country.
But it's very close to the Russian border.
Yeah.
And as one news person, as Senator McCain said, I believe, he said that Putin might be worried about, the upheaval in Kiev because the Russian people are not all that happy with his administration. So it gives them pause for thought,
As I said, I believe the majority of the people are extremely happy with the way things are in Russia.
What do you expect them to say on television or, a national broadcast?
I know a few Russians, and they're saying the majority of the people are happy there now. Their lives are much better than they used to be.
I just think it was built up, you guys. It was just built up to be as far as the Winter Olympics was like, all right, are they going to be secure or not? It seemed like that was the test, not the games they're playing. It's sad to say that, but it felt like we're all worried about, who's going to get hurt.
Well, as I said, it was like you said, Don, but it turned out to be a very safe Olympics and very successful for Russia. And Putin, you have to remember, doesn't care about anybody else but the Russian people. He wants the majority of the Russians to support him. And this was a way of getting some Russian pride. If he would have won, the hockey, he would have been really a hero.
Well, I wonder what's going to happen now with his human rights campaign, against the gay lifestyle. Here, even in the United States, the Arizona legislature passed that bill stating that businesses can discriminate by religion or lifestyle who they want to serve in their establishment. Now, there's a good chance that Governor Brewer, who is a Republican, will probably veto that simply because the 2015 Super Bowl is supposed to be in Arizona. And it's going to bring a lot of people, a lot of business, a lot of money. And let's assume that Michael Sam, whoever he plays for in the NFL, let's assume that his team is one of the teams in the Super Bowl. I mean, he's an outwardly spoken, gay, hopefully NFL football player.
Well, that's a whole other issue. I don't know. don't care who you are, what you are, religion. Being gay, being black, white, whatever you want to say. That took a lot from him to say that, and he got a nice standing ovation for coming out. It doesn't bother me. I don't know about you guys.
No. That's not why I brought it up. I brought it up because if they pass this legislation and the governor doesn't veto it, what's going to happen to business and personal freedoms in Arizona?
Well, first thing, they're going to take the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is going to vote against it. I believe wholeheartedly.
Oh, I'd like to think so.
Guys, look, this is the coffee club. We're here to just talk calmly and firmly. Being a sports myself, I was a sports myself, but when someone comes out, I have no problem with it. But then you wonder, when you're in a locker room taking a shower, what are they thinking when you're taking a shower next to somebody? I mean, I don't know about you guys. I'm involved in sports, and my UMass college, we all took showers together. You don't know. What is someone looking at? Sorry to say it, guys, on the radio like that, but what are you looking at?
The problem is, what do you care what they're looking at? They're probably not looking at anything, but because they, don't think they're attracted to you. They're probably attracted to other gay people. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea, but that's what I would think.
My feelings are hurt now.
Excuse me?
My feelings are hurt.
Why?
That he's not supposed, he comes out. I congratulate him. I stand ovation. I'll be clapping for him. It's just a question of all these years. What he's with everybody, all the guys, and what was in his mind.
Well, listen, whatever was in his mind, he kept it to himself. He caused no harm, and I don't think he'll cause any harm now.
No, it's no harm. I'm open to that.
I think the problem is going to be with the people who are closed-minded and are not sure of themselves, and they're the ones that are going to be worried about it.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about Felix and Dr. Mark. I just, I'm happy. I'm happy he came out. It's great. I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah, how about that basketball player that just came out?
Yeah, right, exactly.
He's
come on out.
Yeah, he's actually going to be the first player that's openly gay in professional sports. Because he's playing tonight.
Yeah.
So he's the first one.
Yeah, exactly right.
And I'm sure there's more gay players around. They're afraid to say anything. It takes a lot to come out.
I don't blame them. I mean, it's a stereotype, and, I don't know. Us guys have this thing as, stay away from me, you're gay, stay away from me. I don't care.
I don't think anybody cares, and as our society progresses, I think less and less people will care. People think that gay, and let's say in Russia and some other countries, that there's something wrong with the gay people, that they're you can just stop it by banning it. Well, gay people are not doing it because they want to or don't want to. It's because of what they are. And, what you are is what you are. That's the end of it. You're born that way, and you're not going to be changed. So no matter what Putin does or any of the other countries do.
You're right. Well, he has his thoughts on that issue, but look, I told you guys before, those shows before, this. You know, a good person, a good person. I don't care what you are. Black, white, Jewish, whatever. I don't care. You're a good person, you be gay, I don't care. A good person's a good person. I don't care. You know.
Well, why do we have to classify people? Don't even call him gay. He's just another person.
Right. You're right. Why do you classify people?
You know.
I what's funny is with going. I want to go talking about Bernie Madoff. You know, we are classifying him as being I hate to say, a scumbag, but you know, he's doing his time. He did a lot of crime, and he's doing his time. You know, he's screwed up a lot of people.
Yeah.
Bernie Madoff, and now it's coming forward, and you know, it's hard. I wasn't obviously. I didn't have nothing to do with him, but you know, he did his time. He's going to jail. His family suffered, and he hurt a lot of people.
Well, his family some of his family was also involved.
Right.
But look,
it's still coming out now. A little bit more. Out.
Look, Bernie was per your verbiage was a scumbag. Thank God, Bernie Madoff. But thank God, he didn't hurt too many poor people. He hurt a lot of rich people who were just greedy as shit because they saw this. These greedy people saw this guy making such high percentages for them. They didn't really question it, even though they should have.
That's what I said the last time. How with the market doing so poorly, how could you get a 20% return every time on your investment and nobody questioned it? When is enough enough? Okay? I mean, the 1% will never spend everything that they have. Not only that, I don't think they even know how much they have.
Well, Dr. Mark, do you think if he's doing serving time? Do you think justice was served to him and to us? Well,
he's serving. Let's put it this way: he's serving life. As we said, one of his sons committed suicide because he couldn't take the pressure. There's a limit to how much one can suffer. Now, I'm sure that there are many other people. We haven't seen the end of it, but I'm sure that there were many other people who were involved in this cover-up who have yet to come, to trial.
I don't even think it's so much as a cover-up. It's how many people close their eyes. There was a slight difference.
I don't want to say I feel bad for him, but he's probably only one that out of this whole banking problems. He's only one that got nailed.
Well, it's true.
All this whole,
people point fingers. People point fingers at Jamie Dimon. And many of these Wall Street CEOs got multi-million dollar bonuses.
Right. Yeah.
How much does one need?
I look at it, and I'm saying, hey, how do these guys? The economy, to me, still is not in a good. We're not in a stable, economy, and these guys are still getting their $1 million. Not bailouts. They're still getting.
But the story with them is they may have been greedy. There may have been a lot of things, but they played within the ball field. They did things the way it was supposed to be done. Not that it's fair.
Right. We don't have to like it. It was all done legally.
Exactly.
And that's what they're saying. If you want to attract
that now they're like shocked. Oh my God, how did this happen to me? And we let it happen this way. We let the laws where these guys can be, I guess, licensed to steal. And when they get caught, it's like, oh my God, why did this happen? We let it happen.
Like I said, they played within the rules of the game, and the rules may not have been fair, but they didn't break the laws. They may have stretched things to.
I think Bernie, a little more than bent the rules.
Oh no, but that's why Bernie's in jail.
He made his own rules.
But that's what he was taught to do. You take money in, you pay another person, that's what he was taught how to do it.
Well, they say in the beginning that wasn't his intention, but as he started going, and he just started getting worse.
He saw a way how to make money and keep people happy at the same time. So he did it once, and it worked. So he did it again and again and again.
And then he couldn't get out of it anymore.
That's true, because after a while, if he stopped, people would start to question. But as it is, he got caught anyway.
Eventually, I mean, I don't know how far into the... Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying he's a genius. I mean, who can come up with what was it, $20 billion? I mean, who can do that?
$56 billion.
Who can do that? I mean, I couldn't. I can't swindle $50. Well, who can?
He would have He would have made the Egyptians proud with the pyramid he built.
The whole point is act as normal as possible. Don't look guilty. Make believe that this is the way it's done. If anybody questions anything, you give them an answer, and you just continue. If you start looking guilty, that's when they catch you.
He did a great job of Jesus. I wish I'd let him out of jail just to hear the stories, because this is incredible.
And listen,
really incredible.
I wouldn't be surprised if, considering all the people with money that he, jilted, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple of contracts out on him if he ever gets out. The safest place for him is prison.
He's not going anywhere. He's got what?
No, I know, yeah. But Dan had said, suppose he gets out,
He ain't got a chance in hell, as they say. What is he serving?
He's the financial Charles Manson, Sirhan, Hinckley, all these people who either assassinated somebody or attempted to, they're never getting out of jail. So he's not going anywhere. But look, I'm sure he's got a television. He gets 3 meals a day. He gets to exercise for an hour, Well,
I don't know. He's in the federal prison? I think so.
I don't know. Supposedly, he's not in one of those country clubs. At least that's what was said.
No, I don't know.
But I don't know if it's true, but I wonder if the prisoners are coming to him for financial advice,
Right. I wouldn't be surprised, not if he comes out, but I wouldn't be surprised, like you're saying, Dr. Mark, I wouldn't be surprised if not that he came out, but he's living obviously not with the life he used to live, but I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and smelling like roses. This, in our world, I would not be surprised in that.
Well, I'll tell you, if as long as the prisoners like him, he doesn't have to look over his shoulder like he did when he was in the outside world.
Yeah. How many terms is he serving?
More than 100 years.
It's at least 150 years, I
Yeah.
know that.
That's like 2 or 3 lifetimes.
Right. I agree with you guys. I agree.
The only place he's going, unfortunately, is hell. And he's Jewish, so maybe he doesn't believe in the hell.
Yes. Now, what do you think about the people who he made money for, who were like the pyramid scheme? What do you think they think about him? He probably made him a lot of money. I'm wondering what you think
From
about
what I
him.
remember,
He obviously had to make money with somebody.
a lot of people lost money. I remember Kira Sedgwick and Kevin Bacon were interviewed because they had invested money with Bernie Madoff and they lost everything. Now, granted, she's an actress, he's an actor, he's got a band with his brothers, so they have
Right.
other income coming in. But I mean, still, they saved, I'm sure, a few $1 million. I think it was $3 million that they had invested with him, and they lost everything. And they say that even the people who lost, they're only going to get pennies on a dollar.
Okay, I'm just going to...
Do you believe that people that are coming forward within his company, do you believe they didn't know about anything?
Hold your thought for a second. Hold your thought, Dan.
Coming out now.
Hold on one second, Dan. Just want to remind everybody that this is a live show, and we take live calls, as you can see by our guest or our caller, Dan. So please give us a call, 646-595-3275. We will add you right into the conversation.
We can have a legal three-way.
Someone call in, please. I don't want to talk to these guys anymore. Someone call in.
Yeah. Anyway.
Somebody call in.
Anyway, okay, I'm sorry, cut you off before.
No, I'm just what I was saying before. Look, I'm gonna give you guys a promo here. Or anyone listening, please. I don't want to talk to these guys anymore. Someone, please call in. Call into the show and make it live and we'll have fun.
All right.
Well,
roll cool.
Thank you.
So somebody please call in and we'll have fun.
Well, you know it begins
guarantee
with
you.
T?
What?
Therapy begins
T?
with T.
Okay. So anyway, I know, listen, the only people that probably made money, and this is only a theory on my part, are when the pyramid first started, because that's the way it works.
Yeah, only the people on the top.
On the bottom of the bottom.
Well, right. You're right.
It's the bottom. It works this way.
Oh, see, shows you what I know.
The first people were getting their dividends all the time.
Well,
Mark, you must know about pyramid schemes.
Well, but isn't it the person on the top, though, that makes the money? Because he makes money from everybody else.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you're right, yeah. The people on the top of the pyramid.
You buy a box, like with this, I'm just for argument's sake, just say he did $100,000, telling everybody invest with me, and then the pyramid builds up to the top. Okay, the guy on top is the one who's going to make out, but you have to keep the pyramid going. And the problem, not the problem, he did a great job. Bernie Madoff really did a great job doing it. He just,
he sold that idea for years.
Right, and everyone put I'm just saying, I don't know what the box was sold for. Okay, invest in XYZ, all the bottom, and then the top guy collected his money. Then, boop, he's gone. Then the next guy, boop, he's gone. But then eventually it does catch up.
Yeah, you have to keep selling more and more, and it's hard to keep it going.
More and more,
Every time he felt he was going to find himself short, he started to sell more shares and bring in more people.
Right.
And he would use that money to pay off the other people.
Well, the top person. That's how pyramids work, and he's actually a phenomenon because no one's ever. I mean, I don't want to say on the phone, but I will. But I've been in pyramids before, and it just. I mean, not like this craziness, but you know, everyone gets. You have to keep. It's almost like Obamacare. Obama wants. That's what kind of scares me about him. Obama scare, I'm going to call it. He wants all the young people to build up the people on top. It's a pyramid, the Obamacare, and it's the same thing as it's no different than Bernie Madoff. Whoever puts in the bottom, they way to the top, and the Obamacare wants the young, to pay in, so to pay for the people on top.
Yeah,
and
but Dan, I've explained it before. The more people who buy into Obamacare, and I'm talking about young people now, the less that the premiums will be that everybody's paying.
But the young
will have to pay the most, but they also have a longer way to go.
So they pay for a lot longer time.
How is it a pyramid scam?
You know something?
That's no different than
Social Security is the same way. I'm collecting Social Security, but somebody who's working is paying for me. When I was working, I paid in for 34 years, okay, and I was paying for somebody who was in Florida or Arizona, any place where they retired. And that's basically how it works.
No, it is.
I agree with you. No, I agree with you. Dr. Mark, I agree with you. It's the same thing with taxes. It's like my parents paying school tax. Now, I born raised over here, and my sister and I, but we're gone. But now they're still paying the school tax with someone else's kids.
I know, and that's been the bone of contention for many senior citizens. That when I had younger children going to school in Oceanside, I didn't mind paying taxes. Now, I don't mind paying school taxes. I really don't. And I'll tell you why. If you were to take away from school tax from senior citizens, the amount of money that's spent per child will go down, education will go down, and your house is not going to be worth, not that it's worth much now, but it's going to be worth even less, because if you're in living in a community where the school system is not on a par or better, you're going to have a tough time selling your house.
Yeah, well, we have a perfect storm, guys. A perfect storm. You got the bad economy, and people are making less money, and obviously, the people are elders are retiring, and we got a perfect storm here. Obamacare didn't help because of everyone's got to chip in. Young people got to chip in. Like people like my parents, like Exodus off Long Island. Exodus, why be here?
Well,
why stay on Long Island for?
Felix had the best idea, which he took from Canada, and that is a VAT tax.
Actually, it was Dan. It was Dan's idea.
You started it?
That was Dan's idea.
Excuse me. You're 100% right.
Mark, that was my idea.
Okay, I apologize.
And I admitted it right away. It was not me.
Felix said it wasn't his idea. But the bottom line is, if you're buying furniture, if you're going on vacation, if you're going out to dinner, if you're going to a movie, there's that percentage of whatever it costs that goes primarily for medical care. And that's fair, because everybody's paying the same thing, and when you go for your visit, you pay nothing.
And the rich pay
Right.
more, and the poor pay less.
Yeah.
That's not my idea. Just because I've been to Canada twice, and they kind of have it down to a step. I guess that's the problem. We don't like socialism in the United States, but if you're a millionaire and you pay $1,000 dinner, okay, $100 is going to go to your health care. If you're a poor guy, you're getting pizza. Okay, you're paying $10 for your price.
You're paying 50 cents for a slice.
Right, exactly. If you're again, I think that the best.
Well,
way
but
to
you
do
see,
it, but Obama or
Obama is also, Obama talked about raising the minimum wage to $10.10, and I think it broke down to like 2 cents on a hamburger if you go to McDonald's or Burger King. Who's going to miss the 2 cents? Papa John's Pizza said that it would cost 11 cents more for a pie. Were you going to think about 11 cents?
Well, I think that's too
I agree with
simplistic.
you. I know where you're going with this, Dr. Mark. I think increasing it's hard. Increasing the minimum wage at whatever it was, $10, $11 an hour. Okay, it sounds like a great idea, Mr. Obama. At the same time, though, who's absorbed the cost of that actual increase? I don't know. It's going to be passed on to
It'll be passed
the
on-
consumers.
Consumers,
Well, they always
obviously.
pass it on to the consumer.
And that's going to cause inflation, so that $10.10 will be worth $8 anyway.
Well, look, I'm all for everyone to make more money, but I'm just telling you, and there are, our fetal stage here, how bad we are with the economy. Like I used to work for a pizzeria, so I know the dough goes up, the milk goes up, the cheese goes up, and you want to pay someone more. Okay, now a slice of pizza is it's fine. Someone guy gets $10
They
an
could
hour
pay me
now.
in
Great.
pizza.
Yeah. So now a pizza maker is getting $11 an hour. You know what? That slice of pizza now costs you and I another whatever it is. Slice of pizza goes for now $3. I just bought a slice of pizza. I just bought a slice of pizza. It's like $3-4 a slice.
That's what I
So
said. It's
if they
going to
go
cause
this-
inflation. That's what it
cause
does.
inflation.
Yeah.
So,
That's just a fact
I
of
think
life.
Obama has the right. But I think he's doing it at the wrong time with inflation. I just think it's going to really be bad. Milk's going to go up, and eggs are going to go up, and flour, and cheese, everything will go up.
They just said that on the news tonight, that expect that your average grocery bill will go up between $5 to $7.50 to maybe $10 a week, because the price of everything is going up, and they all add up.
Right.
So
Right. No, I like the idea what he's saying. I just think it's the wrong. I believe my heart it's the wrong time to do it. The wrong time to do this.
well, I just don't think it's
I
going
don't know.
to.
There's never a right time.
I don't think
It's
it's
got to
going
be
to.
done.
I don't think it's going to make a difference, because all the costs are going to go up more, and your pay winds up being the same.
But many economists say, everybody's looking at the present. 3 years down the road, we're going to be looking at Obamacare, and people are going to say, what the hell was the big deal anyway? It's going to work out in the long run. I really believe that, because something is better than having nothing.
Well, you know what? Here's the problem, Dr. Mark, is that your generation is a lot different than mine. You're like my parents too. I don't know if Dr. Don's gonna call in, but it's I keep arguing with him about that issue. Is that your generation? You're retired. You have your pension. You have your whatever retirement funds, and you're okay with paying a couple dollars more for a slice. You know what? My generation, I'm not. For me to take my kid out my kids out to a grocery store. Man, you're involved with it too. You go to the grocery store, it costs you $300 just to get groceries.
Dan, do you remember? I think it was McDonald's. The old about 30 years ago. Okay, so when you were like a kid, they used to say, "Come into McDonald's, a family of 4, and you get change from 5." Okay, a change from $5. You can feed your family of 4. You can't even do that at White Castle anymore.
You can't feed one person for $5 anymore.
Well, that's true. Not even at White Castle you can't do that.
Yeah,
everything is relative.
I go to, it is all relative, but you have to have a balance, which in the United States, we don't have a balance. Because you guys are retiring. I say you guys, you, Felix, my parents, Dr. Don, they're retiring, are retired. And you guys are okay. Hey, life was great back in the 50s and 60s, 70s, and life was great. But my generation is like, I'm sorry to say it, I said it radio, it's like, holy shit, what happened to us?
No, I say that to my daughter all the time. I said, I really do feel sorry for your generation. She's 35. Because I said, it's difficult to save, so, if you're not working for a company that has a 401k or whatever it is, you have to take out your own individual retirement account. It's hard to put money aside because everything is so expensive and people are not getting raises the way they used to. These people are going to be working for the rest of their lives, and they don't know if they're going to be getting Social Security when they reach 62, although by then the age may be 67. Who knows? So you're going to be working. They're going to be working for the rest of their lives. I don't know what I would do.
I thought this was a fun show to talk into, not depressing.
Well, you brought up all this depressing stuff. We were talking about life after death. Then you brought up Obamacare, and you brought up everything else.
Thanks, Dr. Mark.
And we only mentioned therapy once.
Right. You're right. It just it seems like, I don't know. I mean, even if you were near me, you would probably hit me in the face. But it seems like we're paying for, or my generation is paying for what the benefits you guys have. And that's what the Obamacare is a problem.
But
to join them.
That's one thing. I remember when I started teaching, Dan, okay, and I would complain about Social Security. Why is it that I never reached the maximum salary? Of course, that's because teaching salaries were generally low, okay? But, and they would say every time there was a new contract, they would tell you to vote for it. I never voted yes to any contract in the 34 years I was teaching because my generation of teacher always got skipped over as far as raises were concerned. At the beginning, the teachers on the top said, vote yes. One day you'll be on the top and it'll go to you. And then as the years progressed,
right.
What happened? What happened was they said, we have to get competent people to come into education. So we have to offer the new teachers a higher salary. So what did they do? They offered the new teachers a higher salary. They offered the experienced and old teachers more money. And the people in the middle, and that's where I fell in, got nothing. So, I've been hearing that story since the first day I started working. It's always going to be the young who are going to pay for those seniors and who are retired. Just like, I hate to equate it to one of my favorite protest singers, Phil Oakes, said it's always the old who lead us to the war because the old people are the generals and they sit around a round table, okay? It's only recently that you see generals out in the field. If you go back to World War II and Korea, people like Omar Bradley and Patton,
right.
And Montgomery, they were a rarity to be out there fighting with the men. Most of the time, they're behind a desk somewhere with, having to do with military intelligence. It wasn't, they weren't putting their life on the line.
Well, to you guys, what would your solution be to this crisis? I mean, to me, it's a crisis.
It is a crisis.
What would your economic plan be?
Well, unlike my friend, I don't mind sacrificing a little bit to have more people covered as far as insurance goes. If I was in that situation, I would say, well, at the beginning I'm going to be paying a little more, but it's a matter of sheer numbers. If you get more and more people buying into it, your premium has to go down.
And it also means young people are paying
more,
a lot more for nothing.
Right.
You don't know if it's for nothing. Exactly. You know why? Because for a young person, they're a car accident away or a disease away from going broke for the rest of their lives.
That's why they used to have catastrophe insurance.
But they don't have catastrophe. They don't have any insurance.
Well, I'm saying because the government eliminated it.
Look, I'm going to tell you how I feel. I mean, look, I'll obviously interject. But, I never mention names. But, I know friends and family who are actually getting benefits off of us. Section 8 get $1,800 a month rent, free rent. They get food stamps, and I say food stamps, that's an old school name. And they're getting the
SNAP card. It's a SNAP card.
Yeah, right. So this is where the controversy comes in. Now, friends are, they're getting all these things. This is what the Republicans and Democrats have a big war, because now these people, really, I tell you, it's great. This is great. They get $300-400 a week in free food, but meanwhile, us schmucks are paying for it.
Well, the unfortunate thing is, in an idealistic world, you wouldn't have people ripping off the system. But, let's face it, in the real world, everybody's looking to get something for nothing off the government dime, and it's not everybody, okay? I firmly believe that the people who are getting SNAP cards and getting unemployment or getting Title VIII housing or whatever would love to have a job to go to.
But now, wait a minute, Dr. Mark, you understand? They learned the system. And I'm saying firsthand. I'm not talking about what I read in the paper and what I
know you are.
In the news. So
well,
they are getting.
It's the old joke. My friend likes to say this because he's vehemently against it. He said, as soon as these illegals come over to the United States, the first thing they want to know is, where's the Social Security office?
Well, it's true.
Who was the asshole? I'm sorry. Who was the? Who wouldn't want to do all illegal immigrants give them a driver's license? So they got, it's about votes. I'm sorry to say, it's about votes. So these politicians get these votes.
It's not that they give them a license. I believe, and the people of Mexico believe, if you went to Mexico, before you get any rights at all, you have to learn Spanish. Okay? Here, the written test is given in Spanish.
And
other languages, okay? So the bottom line is, unless you're, let's say, in Chinatown, okay, where they have instructions in Chinese and in English, how's somebody going to know if they can't speak English? Yeah, that's a problem, and that's why people complain that the first thing that a lot of illegal immigrants do, they go down to social services and they sign up right away.
Well,
you know what? Oh, Mark, you gotta acknowledge something though. I agree with that. I know what you're saying. You gotta acknowledge though. Do you want to cut your grass?
Oh no, I understand this. Believe me, I have a gardener. Okay, he's legal, by the way, but I can almost guarantee
Spanish?
you, yes, but I can almost guarantee
Spanish.
you that. Listen, every man working for him, okay, is probably an illegal, and I would talk to them, unlike some people who ignore them, and he has basically the same crew every season, with maybe one or two new faces. But one of the faces, that I've seen year after year, he says he works here very hard and he sends money home to his country because he has
Right.
family. So the bottom line is some of them aren't even spending the money here. They're sending it back home to take care of.
Mark, I got to cut you off. I got to cut you off because that's the problem. I'm guilty of it too. You hire these guys, and I did it for my home. I had to get my fence redone. I hired I'm sorry to say on the phone, three Mexicans. Take them at fence at $50 for a few hours. But you know what? The problem is the money doesn't go here. I give them cash, and the money goes to their family.
But you know something? I give them a lot of credit because, as you were saying before, they do a lot of things that we don't want to do. Okay? They are taking care of their family back home. For whatever reason, they couldn't. The family couldn't come, whether they have young children or whatever the case may be. So they may have a wife who works, let's say, in Mexico, and they have a couple of children, and they send money back. And that money makes a big difference as far as how his wife and family live in Mexico.
Well, Mark, I just don't want. I want to know where the balance is. The balance is nowhere because if we we don't want. They're doing jobs that you and I do not want to do.
Well,
I don't want to cut grass, Mark. I don't want to cut grass. I don't want to
Guess
cut
what?
trees.
I had
$50
this
a day.
friend,
Go ahead.
Dan, this friend that I've been talking about, for years he did his own gardening, okay? He turned 63, and he said, this is too much for me. He's got a nice-sized big backyard. He's got very nice shrubs on the side and the front of his house. And he said, you know something? I can't do this anymore. So he finally hired somebody to do it.
But Mark, we went so off topic, but where's the?
We always go
going?
off
The
topic.
problem
You know that.
I know, but where's it? We give them. I love what they're doing. They're nice people. Nothing wrong with them. Cutting trees, cutting bush, and working hard. They're hard.
They work very hard.
Like the Italians and Irish, they came over here. They work hard, but we're giving them whatever, $1,500 or whatever a weekend. But the money goes to, like you said, Mexico, or where does it go?
Well, you want to hear my solution, Dan?
Tell me.
My solution is you put all the people who are unemployment and able and collecting unemployment in a work pool and let them take all these $10 jobs.
I'm way ahead of you.
And pay the difference to them.
How many times have I said that during the Depression, when FDR was president, he had people making roads, making repairs to the infrastructure. My grandfather, my father's father, worked on one of those crews, okay? He worked for 5 days. He would come home on the weekend. He'd get his pay because he couldn't make it, and they would pay him what they were paying everybody else.
Yeah, but I'm talking about not creating jobs. I'm talking about jobs that are existing.
Why not
existing
create jobs?
But we already have the existing jobs that illegals are doing. Let our people do the work and pay for
Felix,
it.
we have bridges that are crumbling. We have roads that are buckling.
As you guys know, our roads are horrible.
I agree with you with all that, but you don't want to. You're creating jobs and spending money that doesn't exist. You put people into jobs that already exist and we're paying somebody to do it, but we're paying the illegal. Get rid of the illegals. Let our people do the work. Sorry if you got to work hard. You're going to get paid the difference that you normally get in unemployment.
I don't know for you, but the problem with it's just imbalance here. We'll pay the DOT or whatever construction company does these roads. We're paying them at $35 an hour to fix a pothole, but we can pay someone $10 an hour to cut our grass. There's an imbalance here. I just.
And a lot of times, Dan, and a lot of times the person getting $35 an hour is holding the sign that says "Men at Work."
Right.
Well,
right.
Hey Dan, would you pay somebody $35 to cut your grass an hour?
I want to say the wrong word, but hell no.
Only if you lived at Yankee Stadium. That grass.
So, there are, unfortunately, there are jobs, but we don't want to take them as Americans.
Well, that's the whole thing. Americans have become complacent and lazy, okay?
Right.
Now, a lot of people complain. Think about this. A lot of people complain, or at least employers say this. A lot of people complain that this all started with the advent of the union. Before then, you had people working 60 hours a week, being taken advantage by the employer, and if they didn't want to work, they would bring men in and beat the hell out of you with a club. Okay, unions came in and said, we have a 40-hour work week. If we're going to work more, we get extra money. If we're going to work on a holiday, we get extra money. Okay, we want a pension. All of these things cost money.
And
that's why you have the illegal who would come in here and say, well, I'll do it, because they know that we don't want to do it.
Well, how many times, Mark, have you seen that big blown-up rat, that big blown-up thing? I mean, these guys are just trying to work.
Every time I come to Felix's house, there's a big blown-up rat trying to scare me away from his door.
It doesn't work, though.
No, I keep coming. I bring cheese, that's why.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I see it all the time at my parents' home. I see a big blown rat. But, these guys get the $34 an hour. But, you have the Spanish and Mexicans. I'm not degrading them at all. They're hard workers, like Italians were and Irish were. They want to work. And we got holes in our streets that won't work, but the unions were getting away with it.
Because when our grandfathers and great-grandfathers came here legally, okay, and when they came into the port of New York and saw the Statue of Liberty, the first thing they did was not go down to social services, but they looked to find work, no matter what it was, any kind of work, so they could feel. And I hate to sound sexist, so a man could feel like a man, that he was supporting his family, And we have this in this country where you have doctors coming over from Russia or South America who have a language problem, and they can't pass the ECFMG, which is the test that they have to take in order to be accepted and practice medicine in this country. So they take jobs as technicians in hospitals. Why? Because they want to take care of their family. They want to work. Some of them work hard at learning the language so that maybe at some time in the future they can take that test and he or she could become a doctor again.
That's true.
Mark, have you ever been to the Home Depot with all those guys waiting for jobs? Home Depot, that's my God.
That's where Felix picked me up. And he made me his intern.
Do we even
but I don't pay him $10 an hour, though.
Take away the one.
I said I don't pay $10.
I said take away the one.
I had a fence in my backyard he'd worked on. And, you know, I hired, I had an estimate for a contractor for like $5,000 to take work on my fence, my PVC fence, and take it down, rebuild it. I went to Home Depot oh, geez, I guess it's by the Home Depot one. I guess it was Meadowbrook Parkway there. I got scared. They jumped in my car. But you know what? It's $50 a day. That's all they wanted. So instead of paying $5,000, I worth $300. So,
they work hard too.
They jumped in my car and they jumped on my fence and put it back up. They rebuilt it the way I wanted. I paid them $50 a day, 3 of them.
And
now
just
that would have cost me for a regular crew $5,000. So I'm guilty of this. What's going on with America?
Hey, listen. What would your if you had any kids, let's say, and then one of them was a son, 17, 18 years old, and he didn't have a job, and you said, "I'll give you $10 an hour, or $50 for the day to help build a fence." What would he say?
Well, you know what I saw on Facebook, another cartoon where a guy was giving his son a lawnmower, and he said, "Here, you want to earn some money?" And there's no app for this, like on your iPhone or smartphone. The kids look for an app. He says, "There's no app for this. You just have to go out there and do it."
Hey, Mark, at least take my knowledge, being younger than you. What the hell is a lawnmower? What the heck is a lawnmower?
Well, I remember the ones that you used. I remember the ones that weren't on gas or even electric. The ones that you had to push yourself.
I had one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to make a point here. What the hell is a lawnmower to these kids these days?
Well, that's like when I don't know about you, but if Felix and I were to talk about your old 45s, you wouldn't know what we're talking about. But we're talking about the old records to be played on a record player that used to take a disc in the middle.
Yeah,
okay, and from that.
Well, Mark, I'm going to take this to the next level because of, I pretty much a mixed marriage. I got 4 kids. You know what? They cannot get jobs. I'll tell them get a lawnmower, go cut grass, go to pizzeria. You know what? They can't. There's just no job. They're $6-7 an hour. That was my gas to drive them, even drop them off there.
Well,
to drop them off the pizzeria or drop them off somewhere. There's not worth even the gas. That's how bad the economy got. I'm just trying to make a point here. I had a job at 13, 14. That's the problem.
They still have people delivering newspapers, but now they do it in cars.
Right, they're not kids. They're
adults.
Adults.
Yeah. Because people needed work.
I might know a little bit more than you guys know about this because I just have 4 kids. So they're trying to get jobs, but the jobs are trying to get $6-7 an hour. I mean, they're dealing with, I'm sorry to say, Spanish people. They're just trying to compete with the flipping pizzas and cleaning ovens and.
Okay, so what's wrong with that? What is wrong with that?
Well, I have to bring them there, and I gotta drive them there. They gas, and I was so high. Jesus, I gotta take $6 on me just to
listen. When I was young and I was working for minimum wage, I'd walk 2-3 miles to get to work.
Hey, listen. When my son
someone walking up a hill in snow for.
When my oldest son worked at Carvel, we used to take him and pick him up. When my youngest son was going to the police academy and he had his morning class, I got up every day at 4:00 and he made a 4:30 or a 4:45 train, Heck, I wasn't the one going to the police academy. He was. But who took him? Me or my wife?
Because you're retired. You don't have a job
You're retired.
anymore.
But you know something? If I wasn't
Right, you're
retired, I would still be able to do that and then go to my job. I would have to. How else could he go? He couldn't park the car.
Why?
Because in Rockville Center,
I'll-
they won't give you a sticker unless you live in Rockville Center.
So take an extra half an hour and take the Oceanside train.
All right. Mark, I'm going to disagree with you on this because the kids are trying to find jobs, but the jobs they're trying to find are taken up by the Spanish. I'm sorry to say it that way, but they are.
No, the jobs at Carvel, the jobs at the fast food restaurants are now falling on shoulders of the elderly, people who lost all of their retirement money. They might be on Social Security, but the bottom line is Social Security is not enough. If they're 65, they could work more than, not that they do, but they could work more than 40 hours a week. So they're working for a pittance in order to, pick up the slack for the money that they lost.
I hear what you're saying. At the same time, I'm disagreeing with you because I don't have time to leave my job just so my son and daughter can get a $6 job or $7 job at Carvel. I don't have time to do that. I don't have the money to do that. I hurt myself then, which hurts the family. I can't leave an hour or 2 hours. Meanwhile, Spanish people live, they got, I'm sorry I'm so hooked on Spanish, but I should take that away, but Spanish, Chinese, and they live, 10 people live in the bedroom, one room. And they live all together, and I don't,
It sounds like Felix' old college dorm.
Yeah, well, listen, Dan, I hate to tell you, but your kids are spoiled. Give them a bicycle, and they can go anywhere they want.
Felix, look, I love, I might call that constructive criticism, but the times have changed, Felix. It's not like when I was a kid, I ride a bicycle like you're saying, I ride a bike.
You know something?
I worked it.
Dan, if you were to talk to your father, he would tell you that the times have changed from when he was a kid. I remember my father telling me, okay? It's the old takeoff of the Lincoln story walking 10 miles to go to school or something,
Yeah.
Hey, I respect what you're saying, Dr. Mark, but at the same time you're wrong because these kids these days are spoiled, but they get slammed with the immigration coming here. They're getting they're getting slammed.
The reason why the reason the immigrants come here and do this work because nobody wants it. Nobody
wants it.
Yep.
Exactly. If I was an employer, and I'll be damned if I'm wrong, and I stood out and I was unemployed, and I was in Home Depot, and I was the only white guy, I guarantee you I'll be the first one to go.
Yeah,
right,
because
guys,
they need you to
question.
translate to everybody else.
7-Eleven.
Excuse me?
Yeah, you go to 7-Eleven. Any white people working there?
Because nobody wants these jobs. People are spoiled.
And landscaper, any white landscapers you know?
Yes.
Nobody wants these.
There was a young
I don't have any white.
There was a young substitute teacher in my school, I remember. He gave up teaching because landscaping was more financially lucrative for him.
No, I don't know what do you think about Obama doing this a new, I guess, increase $10? And I think that's bad. It's just. I like that people might make more money, but I think it's just going to hurt the economy.
Well, in all honesty, Dan, we've discussed that before, and I don't think we really want to rehash it again.
Dan?
I hear you. I just.
Listen,
you know what? I don't. why I want to rehash it because, no, we don't have to, but I'm just saying because I make little money now. I'd rather flip burgers right now. I'll make more money flipping burgers under Obama and Obamacare. I'll make more money and health insurance doing that than what I'm doing now for a living. How sad is that?
Well,
That's why I'm trying to rehash it with you. That's all. We don't have to talk about it again, but that's how sad it is.
yeah, it is. And my feelings are.
Me, if I make $10 an hour for 40 hours a week, I'll make more money.
Well, maybe you should then.
All right, I quit. All right, gentlemen. On that note, that's a good note to end on. I don't know where Dr. Don is, but
Dan, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
It's always fun talking to you guys.
All right.
We always enjoy it.
All right, Sal. I want to see you Monday. I'll be flipping burgers.
I want to tell you one thing.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night.
Yes.
You as well.
You too, guys. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Dapper Dan. The man with the golden mouth.
Well, he's got some good ideas. He's got some not such good ideas. I mean, look, this show is good for people who want to let off steam and complain. All right? And there's nothing wrong with that. We just try to show them sometimes that, their complaints really don't make much sense.
Well, whatever. His complaints are his complaints. And to him, they make sense.
Listen, every generation can complain about the youth of the next generation and say that, they're spoiled. But who makes them spoiled? We do.
Of course.
I
mean, I spoiled my kids. I know that.
The woman, one of the receptionists at the doctor's office, said she bought a brand new shovel at the beginning of the winter, anticipating all the snow. And she gave it to her son. And her son said, "Oh, great." He says, "Now I can go out and shovel for everybody else," meaning he's going to make money. And she said, "Wait a second. Before you shovel for anybody else, you have to shovel here." No kid wants to really shovel at home because the bottom line is you're not getting anything for it.
You can go to your neighbor next door and make $20-$30.
Exactly.
But that's always been that way. As long as I can remember.
Listen, and the story is never going to change. Yeah. Like I said before, Lincoln walked 10 miles to go to school in snow and everything. Somebody's always got a story like that, when they complain about waiting for the bus in the cold. I can only think of my sister Tina, who every day gets up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. She decides the night before whether she's going to try to take the 8 train from Rockaway, if it's even running, okay, or is she going to go to 116th Street and take the train, all right, the bus, okay, that takes her into Brooklyn, okay, at the junction by Brooklyn College, and then she catches a train there. Either way, I mean, if I had to do something like that, I try to find work closer to home. But that's me.
I've always done that. My whole working career, I never really took the trains.
I did when I went to high school and when I worked summer jobs, but when I worked when I was a teacher, I drove into Manhattan when I had to teach in Harlem. I drove to East New York. I drove to Queens. I would never rely on public transportation. But, I mean, that's neither here nor there. What we're trying to say is you do what you have to do. And that's what it is. You do what you have to do.
Yeah.
And right now, Felix and I have to do one thing.
We got to probably go and bring the dogs in.
I got to feed the dogs in, yeah.
Yeah, but the dogs, I don't know where they are. They're not barking.
Well, maybe they froze because the weather changed so much.
Who knows?
It was
yeah.
so great over the weekend. Well, forget about it. I think the dogs froze out there. But in any event, we're about getting ready to sign off, ladies and gentlemen. So for Dr. Mark,
Okay.
I would like to say thank you very much. And we enjoyed this show with you, sharing the time. Maybe next time we can get more people calling up. Felix, I leave it up to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a good evening. I hope you enjoy the show. I'm sure we'll be hearing from you again. And again.
Hearing from them again. I wish we would hear from them first. Once.
Well, at least we have a couple of loyal callers.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm down on my knees. You know what it looks like for an old, fat, bald-headed man to be down on his knees begging for somebody to call up? Not a pretty sight.
Well, you know, we don't beg.
Oh, I don't know. Speak for yourself. I just know that it's hard for me to get up. I
Uh-oh,
do.
the dogs are barking. You're lucky. You can stop
Oh,
talking.
they're still alive. Okay, well, if that's the case, then we have to let them in, and I got to feed them because they're good to us, so we have to be good to them.
So you have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening, and we'll be live again on Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So please join us then. Good night.
This was what, about 95
We're not
minutes?
over yet, Mark. You always do that. You always do that, Mark. Wait till we're done with the show.
Oh, I thought we were done with the show.